Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks had a tall task in Game 5 trying to keep their season alive against Jason Tatum and the 2-seeded Celtics. Could Atlanta extend their season? Ice Trae was all game. He strikes first with the deuce, but the ATL had to deal with the big two from hell in Boston, which means you got Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum going right at your neck. And these two trained assassins don't play no games. It's Brown with the crossover on Jalen Johnson. Brown using the left. And then Tatum's like, I'm going to get it to my mans because he can get it done. Celtics take a 3-point lead. Brown had a big first half. Young's like, don't sleep on me. I could cock that thing too. He gets the roll to go, but it's Boston with the lead as we took a break. Third quarter, more Jaylen Brown. What can Brown do for you? He can get you to the rim and get a bucket. He had 35 points. Trae Young had more than that. His three, helping keep Atlanta in this game. Off the turnover from Young, it's Tatum in transition, and JT throws it down. Fourth quarter we go. Malcolm Brogdon finds Brown again, and he delivers again. And then there's Tatum pulling up for that patented mid-range jump shot. Tatum added 19 points. Boston up 8 with under 4 minutes to go. Does the ATL have any fight left in their season? There's John Collins. He had 22 points. And then from there, Ice Trae said, can I have this dance? It's Young for 3 with Al Horford in his grill. And then this time, Robert Williams refused to step up. What does Mark Jackson say? Hand down, man down. Young ties this game up at 111. 2:20 to go. Robert getting some get back. It's Williams with the and one. He missed the free throw. Boston regains the 2-point lead. Here's Young attacking and getting fouled. Tatum would toss the ball in the direction of the ref. That's a technical foul. 3 free throws puts Atlanta up a point. Young trying to extend that lead, but he gets wedgie. Nothing like a good old Game 5 wedgie from your best player. Jump ball, and Boston wins it, which means Tatum gets a chance to get an easy alley to Robert Williams. Boston back up a point, 18 seconds to go. It's Marcus Smart, a little too aggressive on his defense of Young. He's called for a foul, which sends one of the game's best free throw shooters to the line for 2. Young makes both. Celtics now down a point with 7 seconds to go. It's Derek White attacking, and he gets fouled. Upon further review, not a lot of contact, but D. White goes to the line and nails both of his free throws. Boston's back up by a point. Atlanta's going to call a timeout, which gives their new head coach, Quinn Snyder, an opportunity to drop a play. Let me go ahead and give you a spoiler. The play is to get the ball to Trae Young and get out of the way. With his team down a point, it's Ice Trae pulling up with a deep three-pointer over Brown. Young, ice in his veins, puts Atlanta up a deuce. Last chance for the Seas. Tatum, normally good in the clutch, but not right there. The ATL keeps their season alive. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Woo! Your concert is canceled. I am for real. Atlanta wins Game 5 by 2. It was thanks to Trae Young's heroics in Game 5 that we even got a Game 6 in this first-round Eastern Conference matchup. Could Young strike again against Jason Tatum and the 2-seeded Celtics? Game 6 from the ATL. You saw Tatum with the throwdown. He's answered by 3 from Young, and Trae was just getting started. A remarkable first quarter from one of the game's best guards. Young feeling it at this point. An 18-point first quarter got Atlanta up. We're tied at 42 in the second. How about Jaylen Brown off his pivot, giving his squad the lead? Other end we go is Bogdanovich for show. Playoff bogey is what they call him. He gets the deuce to go with the left. And then Ice Trae still sizzling. Somehow, some way for his team. Trae Young continued to make plays. He had a really good first half, not as good second half though. It's Tatum and Beantown keeping it close. Their dynamic duo. Dogs. They just dogs, man. Celtics by 1 at the half, third quarter. The hometown kid, Malcolm Brogdon, contributes to his team's success. Young's gonna find DeAndre Hunter. He had some moments in this series. DeJounte Murray, suspended in Game 5, good to go in Game 6. DeJounte puts Atlanta up by 2. In a back and forth contest here, it's Tatum, probably his best game of the series. And then Bogey again getting to the cup and scoring. Fourth quarter, Celtics up by 2. Now they're not. It's John Collins for 3. Atlanta takes the 1-point lead. Here comes Brown pulling up and nailing the Trae with DeJounte in his grill. We're tied at 113. Here's a pretty big play in this game. Young tries to make a pass to Collins, and Malcolm Brogdon is called for the foul. Boston Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla challenges the call, but to no avail. It seems like right after that play, something about that just turned Boston up. All their key guys got to work. Al Horford and Jason Tatum knock in threes. And then how about Brown on the defensive end just pitting DeJounte's shot. Horford's gonna miss. Tatum is not. The big putback jam. Boston on a major run that's capped off by this Marcus Smart 3. The Celtics take an 8-point lead with 91 seconds to go. Does Atlanta have any fight left in them? There you go. It's Hunter for 3. Other end, look at this beautiful ball fake from Smart. Celtics up by 7, under a minute to go. Young's gonna miss the floater. And then 30 seconds later, the Hawks season comes down to bad inbounding. First time around, Trae trying to get the ball in over Smart. Let's just say he doesn't get the ball in, but he hits Marcus in another area. Second time around, Trae still can't get it in. Now the Hawks put DeAndre Hunter on the ball. He can't get it in. He bounces it off Horford. The fourth time around, Hawks still trying to get the ball inbound with a timeout. Atlanta turns the ball over, which means Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics hold off the Atlanta Hawks in 6 games with a 128-120 thriller road win behind 30 points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists from JT. They now move on for a date with destiny matchup against the Sixers. So after Game 6, it was Jason Tatum that actually apologized to Janet Jackson. The Hawks mistakenly double booked their Hawks Game 6 on the same night as Janet Jackson's concert at State Farm Arena. Obviously, Janet had to get rescheduled in favor of the Hawks. If the Celtics would have just took care of business in Game 5, this wouldn't have been an issue. So Tatum said, "I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. I never meant to push your concert back." If you enjoyed the great quality content, please make sure you subscribe to the platform right now. That's how you get more of your boy.
Here, Horford again. Missed it and a stick back.
Another season goes by with the Atlanta Hawks just giving you just enough to want more next year, which to me means you can't trade Trae Young. You just got DeJounte year 1. You can't trade Murray. DeAndre Hunter showed you some promising signs towards the latter part of this series. Pretty much what I'm telling all you Hawk fans out there is more times than not, you're running it back. Quinn Snyder came in past the midseason point, didn't get a chance to implement, I'm sure, a lot of the stuff that he want to do, especially on the defensive end of the court where the Hawks suffered from miserably. I'm sure this team's running it back. The only thing I could see Atlanta doing differently, I do believe John Collins will finally get moved this offseason. I think I've said this the last couple offseasons, but I do believe this offseason will be the last straw. You know, Coach Snyder definitely enjoyed having more spacers on the court. He started the series off using Sadiq Bey late in games, Jalen Johnson as well. And then it kind of, it was kind of play it by ear towards the latter part. John did play late in game, what was that, Game 4? I think he played late in. But more times than not, the Atlanta Hawks, they kept Collins on the bench. They went with either Capella or Kongu, and they rolled with DeAndre, Trae, DeJounte, and Bogdanovich or Sadiq, whoever had the hot hand. I do believe this is the summer you got to move Collins. If you're not going to use Collins as your 5, with DeAndre being your 4 in today's NBA, and then put Bogey at the 3, DeJounte at the 2, and then Ice Trae at the 1. If you can't roll with that lineup because of defensive liabilities, then to me, John is kind of stuck in no man's land with not being able to man down the 4 at the 5, but not being a consistent enough shooter to hold his spot at the 4, and also not a good enough defender to guard some of the premier talents that now rock the 4 position. He can't guard Kevin Durant, LeBron James, some of the other dynamic dudes we got at that spot. So I think John gets moved, and I think you give this backcourt of Trae and DeJounte another year. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what you do with Trae Young, because you can't act like he didn't have some really good moments in this series, back-to-back 30-point games to close this one out. It's just he's just really one of those unique talents in the league that needs the ball in his hands to be effective, though. But him being on the ball is oftentimes best for Trae, but not oftentimes the best for the Atlanta Hawks as a team. I don't know what you do with that one. You cannot just put DeJounte on the ball and think Trae will be happy being a spot-up shooter when this dude is in the conversation of lead assist guy every year. That's a tough one to figure out. And I bring up the Kemba Walker comparison, and I want to be fair. Trae Young is better than Kemba Walker. As a matter of fact, he's already off to one of the greatest starts any Atlanta Hawk has ever had. Just being honest about it. But when Kemba left Charlotte, he went to Boston. He can never find his way again. He can never find a team that was willing to buy into him as the starting point guard, the leader of their franchise again. Like Charlotte was. Kemba wanted the max. He didn't get it, felt disrespected, moved on from Michael Jordan and the Hornets at the time. I'm not saying that would 1,000% happen in the Trae Young situation. I'm just saying Ice Trae better be willing to work with the Hawks on whatever which way Coach Snyder wants to use him next year, because just the style of play, as great as he is, the numbers that he puts up, I'm not so sure how many teams out there would allow Trae Young to be the focal point of their offense. As good a scorer he is, as good a dimer he is, I don't think there's a lot of teams out there that would let Trae Young rock the way he rocks out, being a defensive liability. I'm not so sure too many teams would do that. So it's important for Young to know what he's got here in Atlanta and know that I don't think a lot of teams around the league would allow him to rock like that. Congratulations to the Celtics. They could have been on upset alert. Milwaukee's gone. Boston didn't let that happen to them. They took care of business, took maybe a game extra than they would have liked, but now they're going to the second round for a monster matchup against the Philadelphia 76ers.